My name is Teresa Windsor. My Feast Hall invitational Haisla name is Kate Mus. I am from the Haisla Nation, currently residing in Smota, which is Kitimat Village. Currently, I work for my village government, Haisla Nation Council, as a community cultural coordinator. And my job is to create a culture and language revitalization plan for our entire membership. But in short, my son was attending our community school and he was learning our language, our Haisla language there. And he came home one evening to my parents' house, we were having dinner, and he said a food blessing in our language. And it brought my whole family to tears. And that made me want to know why that was an emotional thing for us. And it took me down an unexpected path of just healing and uncovering a lot of the reasons why my parents didn't grow up speaking the language, why I didn't understand or grow up speaking the language. And in turn, that made me, that lit a fire in me to want to do something about it and about the state of our language and keeping it alive for future generations. And you see my 5-year-old daughter behind me. Everything that I'm learning, I'm passing on to her and my children. That plays a big part in why I do what I do and why I have such a passion for keeping the Haisla culture and language alive and present in our everyday lives. I'm helping people remember our history and our roots and where we come from and our stories that have seemed to have gotten lost along the way, or stories that we've stopped telling, is something that we all need to connect to ourselves as individuals. And it just really provides a great sense of identity and belonging in this world. The industrialization that's happening in my territory is something that's very devastating right now to witness, because it is history repeating itself. And I believe that the work that I'm doing is helping people recognize that what has happened in the past was very wrong and horrible. I've overcome a lot in my own personal life as a young Indigenous woman. I am a survivor of domestic abuse. That challenge in itself, escaping that part of my life was a big deal for me as a young single mother, and how I overcame that was pretty. It was quite the battle. And now that I look back in hindsight, I'm really thankful for, how life has veered me in this direction. So I have a lot of personal experiences that have taken me to this point that I really would like to be able to share and help others. And of course, I'm here to learn too. I truly believe that there's not a single person on the face of the earth that knows everything. So I am very teachable, and I'd like to humble myself to anybody else's teachings as well too. It was really interesting actually when you invited or shared the information with me about Salmon Nation, and I went and I started looking at the website, and there was a picture of the magic canoe. I was right in the middle of that canoe actually about 16 years ago, and I was a youth worker at the time, and I had brought a group of youth out to the Kitlope for I believe it was the 10th anniversary celebrating the Kitlope rainforest being protected. And it was my first and only time ever paddling out in the Kitlope. And it was such a magical experience. And I remember thinking back then, I wanted my kids to have that experience, and I wanted all of our children and people to have that experience. And my connection to the Kitlope is just, it's where a lot of our origin stories come from. It's where a lot of our history comes from. So it was really something else to be there and to be able to experience the beauty of the Kitlope, the pristine beauty of the Kitlope. It was something else. I really want to connect with like-minded individuals who feel that there's a better way forward for the collective, not just Indigenous communities, but the collective as moving forward. I think that there's there's definitely other energy sources out there that we can be looking for, we could be looking into investing in. And I want to be able to bring forth like-minded people that can say that, you know, there's other ways to do these things that do, you know, build on the strengths that Indigenous cultures and teachings already provide. So I feel like Salmon Nation is definitely, it means hope for me to know that there's other people out there that want and strive for the same thing that I want for my community. Because right now it feels a little lonely. Sometimes I feel like I'm way out there on my own with some of the wants and wishes that I have for our future. I would just like to know and get to know other people who feel the same way as I do, especially about our environment and the state that it's in. I mean, this whole pandemic is definitely an eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people, to realize our impacts that we have on the planet. You know, those were very real fears of mine, is what kind of world are we leaving behind for our children? Industrial development just keeps moving forward and forward and forward with no thought about the future. So yeah, that's what I feel like I can add to the Salmon Nation network.